Between desert and deep ocean, the Red Sea hides a world far more alive than its surface suggests. From above, this ocean looks narrow, but below the surface, it opens into a vertical kingdom. The desert disappears, the heat fades, and the ocean begins to reveal its hidden world.
At first, the reef looks like paradise, a living ocean city filled with color, fish, and light.
But this beauty is not peaceful in a simple way. Every fish here lives close to danger.
In this ocean, coral is not only shelter, it is a maze where every path can become a trap. The Red Sea Ocean is a corridor of predators, where every layer has its own hunter.
Beyond the reef edge, the ocean changes. The blue becomes deeper, quieter, and more dangerous.
Hammerheads patrol the blue, reef sharks guard the walls, barracudas wait in the current, and silent hunters hide below. So who truly rules this narrow ocean corridor? The answer begins here. Inside, to understand who rules this ocean, we must begin with the reef, the living city where every hunt starts.
For small fish, the reef is protection. But for predators, it is also a map.
Every shape has meaning here. A narrow branch can save a fish, and a narrow passage can guide it toward danger. In this ocean, fear moves faster than teeth. One shadow can change the entire reef. The reef does not simply hold life, it organizes life, forcing fish, hunters, and currents into patterns.
Even the open sand is part of the ocean's design. It looks empty, but hidden hunters may be waiting below. Power in the ocean does not always come from above. Sometimes it waits silently beneath the floor.
The Red Sea Ocean is narrow from above, but underwater it rises in layers, and each layer has its own danger.
Where the reef ends, the blue begins. And in that open ocean, a different kind of ruler moves.
This is why the question is not only which creature is strongest. The real question is, which predator controls which layer of the ocean?
Beyond the reef wall, the Red Sea Ocean opens into a deeper world, where distance itself becomes power. The hammerhead does not need to rush. Its shape alone tells every fish that the open ocean is not empty.
Its strange head is not a mystery of design. It is a living sensor built to read the ocean.
This predator connects layers, from coral walls to deeper water, from visible reef to hidden blue.
The Red Sea Ocean is not only narrow, it is vertical, and the hammerhead uses that vertical world. Down here, the reef is no longer a city of color. It becomes a memory of light above the hunter. Its presence travels ahead of its body. The fish feel the pressure before the shadow fully arrives.
The hammerhead may rule the blue edge, but the reef itself still protects those fast enough to read the warning.
In this ocean corridor, even after the shadow leaves, the behavior of the reef has already changed.
But the hammerhead does not rule the coral itself. Closer to the reef, another hunter keeps the ocean city alert.
But the hammerhead does not rule the coral itself. Closer to the reef, another hunter keeps the ocean city alert.
A reef shark does not need violence to command attention. Its patrol alone sends a warning through the ocean.
Here, power is rhythm. The shark follows the wall, and the fish reshape themselves around its path.
The reef gives fish places to hide, but it also gives predators routes to follow.
A single shark can turn open water into risk, and a safe path into a difficult choice.
Not every reef shark moves the same way. Some patrol the edge, while others wait inside the hidden architecture of coral.
In the Red Sea Ocean, even a resting predator changes how fish use space. In shallower ocean light,
Another reef shark carries the same message. The open edge is never neutral.
These sharks do not simply hunt fish. They shape the behavior of every fish that shares the reef.
Reef sharks rule the patrol line, but above the coral and inside the current, another predator waits like a silver blade.
Reef sharks rule the patrol line, but above the coral, another predator waits in perfect stillness.
Barracuda do not command the ocean by size. They command it by timing, patience, and sudden speed. In this narrow ocean corridor, stillness can be more frightening than motion. One break in the pattern, and the quiet ocean becomes a chase.
The reef saves some fish, but the open water always demands a price for hesitation.
But not every hunter in the Red Sea Ocean needs speed. Some rule by waiting inside the reef itself. The grouper does not need the whole ocean. It only needs one cave, one ledge, and one careless fish.
Below the reef, the ocean hides another kind of power, silent, flat, and almost impossible to see.
The ray does not patrol the wall or chase through the current. It reads the ocean floor like a secret map. So who truly rules this narrow ocean corridor? The answer is not one creature.
The Red Sea Ocean does not begin with predators alone. It begins with the reef that makes predators possible. The Red Sea Ocean does not begin with predators alone. It begins with the reef that makes predators possible.
A reef is a city built by living animals, filled with streets, rooms, tunnels, and hidden doors.
Every narrow path can protect a fish, but every narrow path can also guide it toward danger.
In this ocean, danger often arrives first as pressure, not as teeth.
The reef creates choices, and in a predator's ocean, every choice has a cost.
Grazing fish feed in the open, but they never forget the shelter behind them.
Small fish survive by reading space, current, shadow, and distance to coral.
A school can disappear into coral in a heartbeat, leaving the ocean above it silent. The reef protects life by hiding it, releasing it, and hiding it again.
But the same shelter that protects prey can also conceal a hunter.
Predators learn these paths because the reef teaches fish where they must pass.
A gap that lasts only a second can become the most dangerous place in the ocean.
Safety is never permanent here. It is borrowed from the shape of the reef. This is why the Red Sea Ocean feels larger than it looks. It is narrow, but it is layered.
Between coral walls, even sand becomes part of the hunting system.
What looks empty from above may be crowded with hidden life below.
The reef connects the bottom, the wall, the current, and the blue water beyond. A shallow coral garden can become a deep wall in only a few meters.
At this edge, the ocean is divided into those who hide and those who hunt.
Current turns the reef into motion, and motion reveals where fish must go.
To feed in the current, fish must risk exposure. To survive, they must measure every meter.
Not every predator is a giant. Some are smaller pressures that keep the reef alert.
In the reef city, position can matter more than speed.
A healthy reef supports many kinds of fish,
because it creates many kinds of opportunity. Where there are many fish, there are many eyes, many warnings, and many chances for a hunter.
The reef can look peaceful until every fish vanishes at once. Survival here is a rhythm of leaving, hiding, and returning.
The architecture of coral decides how the ocean moves. At the slope, the reef becomes a border between the crowded city and the unknown blue. The closer fish stay to structure, the more choices they have when danger arrives.
The blue beyond the wall is not empty space. It is another hunting ground.
This is the first lesson of the Red Sea Ocean. Predators are not separate from the reef. They are products of it.
The reef keeps fish alert, and alert fish keep the entire ocean city moving.
Every meal is a calculation. How far from shelter? How long in the open? How close to the current?
The reef is not one solid wall. It is a network of safe zones divided by danger.
Ambush does not need open space. It needs a place where prey must pass.
Even one coral tower can contain many worlds: surface, shelter, shadow, and risk.
The more complex the coral, the more complex the hunt becomes.
A healthy reef creates density, and density brings both abundance and danger.
Where current touches coral, food arrives, fish gather, and predators learn to wait. Where current touches coral, food arrives, fish gather, and predators learn to wait. Above the coral is opportunity. Inside the coral is safety. Between them is the risk that shapes every fish. The reef begins every hunt, but not every hunter stays inside it.
The reef surface holds small fish, the caves hold patience, the sand holds secrets, and the blue holds distance.
Where the wall ends, the reef stops controlling everything, and the open ocean begins to take over.
This boundary is one of the Red Sea's most powerful places, where shelter ends and true open water begins.
Beyond the reef, power belongs to animals that can read distance, depth, and current.
And when the reef wall falls away, one of the Red Sea's most iconic shadows begins to appear. The reef has shown us where every hunt begins. Now the ocean will show us what moves beyond its walls. Beyond the reef, the Red Sea Ocean belongs to distance, depth, and shadows. The hammerhead is not a reef hunter. It is a reader of open ocean space.
Its strange shape is not weakness. It is a tool built to sense the hidden signals of the ocean.
Here, the coral city fades, and the ocean becomes a map of current, depth, and motion. The Red Sea is narrow from the sky, but underwater it falls into a vertical world. A predator that can move through depth has access to a larger world than a reef-bound hunter. This is the hammerhead's power. Not only strength, but access to many layers of the ocean. It follows invisible roads where current carries scent, movement, and the possibility of prey.
The hammerhead does not need to enter the reef to make the reef feel watched. Small fish answer the shark with distance, shelter, and sudden silence. This is not the rule of constant attack. This is the rule of presence.
Its body is built to search, to sense, and to move across ocean space with patience.
Farther from coral, the ocean becomes less visible, but not less alive.
Out here, the hunter belongs to the space between what can be seen and what can only be sensed. When it returns toward the reef, the ocean reacts before the shadow reaches the wall.
The hammerhead rules the open edge, but coral still gives smaller fish a chance.
From inside the reef, the blue ocean is not empty beauty. It is exposure.
A single passing shadow can freeze a reef more completely than a sudden strike.
When the hammerhead leaves, the fish move again, but the memory of the open blue remains. When the hammerhead leaves, the fish move again, but the memory of the open blue remains. But the hammerhead does not rule the coral itself. Closer to the reef, power moves in a different rhythm. Here, the reef shark becomes the moving pressure along the coral border.
It does not need to be the largest predator to change the order of the reef.
The reef gives fish shelter, but the shark turns every open lane into a decision.
A channel is not just a passage. With a shark nearby, it becomes a test.
The reef shark reads edges, walls, current, and hesitation.
Its power is not chaos. Its power is order.
Once the patrol passes, the reef relaxes, but never completely. Some reef sharks patrol in motion. Others turn the hidden spaces of coral into quiet danger. Even resting, a predator changes the way fish approach the reef. In shallower light, another shark carries the same ancient pressure.
The blacktip moves through sunlight, but its message is the same. Open water is never neutral.
The shark does not simply search for food. It shapes the movement of everything smaller than itself.
From inside the coral, even a passing shark becomes the sky of danger.
Predators create caution, and caution shapes where fish feed, hide, and travel. This is why reef sharks matter, even when they do not strike. Walls, channels, slopes, and currents give sharks edges to follow.
The reef learns the rhythm of patrol, and every fish inside it learns to answer.
Current brings information, and a shark knows how to read it.
Here, the Red Sea's narrow shape does not limit life. It compresses it. Reef sharks rule not by owning every space, but by making every space matter.
But the patrol line is not the only zone of power.
Above the coral, in the open lanes of the ocean current, another hunter waits for one perfect moment.
The hammerhead rules the blue edge. The reef shark patrols the wall. But speed is about to change the rhythm of the ocean. Part of the Red Sea is ruled by depth, part by patrol, and now the current belongs to the silver blades.
In the current above the reef, the Red Sea ocean changes rhythm again. Barracuda do not rule by size. They rule by stillness before speed.
The ocean looks calm, but every fish beneath them is calculating distance to shelter.
For prey, the reef is safety. For barracuda,
The space just outside it is opportunity. A current can become a corridor, and a corridor can become a trap.
One instant of hesitation, and still water becomes a chase.
The reef saves the quick, but the open ocean punishes the separated.
Barracuda power lives in contrast. Long patience, then one precise explosion of speed.
Where current touches coral, food gathers, fish gather, and predators learn the timing.
The current feeds the reef, but it also exposes every fish that moves too far from shelter.
In this layer of the ocean, power belongs to the animal that knows when not to move. A school survives by becoming one body, one turn, one warning. Barracuda do not chase chaos. They look for the one place where order breaks. A few meters of separation can turn a bright ocean lane into danger. Speed is not only movement, it is the ability to arrive before escape becomes possible. After every burst, the ocean returns to stillness, but every fish remembers the cost of drifting apart.
The reef shark controls the wall, but barracuda control the open lane above it.
Their bodies are built for clean acceleration, with no wasted movement and no warning. The barracuda waits like a blade, because the ocean will bring the moment to it. Around it, the reef moves, the fish move, the current moves. The hunter waits. The fish know the roof of the ocean can become a strike from above. In the Red Sea, the same current that brings food also brings risk.
Barracuda are not the only fast hunters here. The current attracts many predators built for sudden pursuit.
Trevally bring weight to speed, turning the open lane into a moving wall of pressure.
Every fast predator makes the reef more valuable to the fish that can reach it.
Here, speed has many shapes, each one reading the same current in a different way. The open lane rewards hunters that can cross distance before prey can organize. But among these fast hunters, barracuda remain the masters of the sudden moment. The reef creates the passage, the current sets the direction, and the barracuda waits where both become one.
This is not random hunting. It is structure, timing, and reaction.
In the rule of reaction time, survival belongs to those who turn first. Speed rules the open lane, but coral still rules the final refuge.
This is why no predator controls the whole ocean. Each ruler has a boundary.
After the chase, the reef becomes more cautious, more organized, more alive to danger.
Predators shape the ocean, even when they do not feed.
The map is not drawn in sand or stone. It is drawn in movement.
For the viewer, they are beautiful. For the reef fish, they are the shape of the open water's danger.
The Red Sea Ocean gives them a perfect stage. Clear water, strong current, and fish forced close to structure.
But the reef has predators that do not need open water or sudden acceleration.
Below the silver hunters, the reef holds a slower kind of power.
Here, dominance is not measured in speed, but in position.
cave can be shelter. It can also be a mouth in the architecture of the reef.
After the speed of the current, the Red Sea Ocean now reveals the power of waiting.
The current belongs to the silver blades, but the caves belong to hunters that never need to chase.
To understand the next ruler of the Red Sea, we must leave speed behind and enter the shadows. In the next layer, the Red Sea Ocean will show us that silence can be just as dangerous as speed. Here, the Red Sea Ocean leaves speed behind and enters the kingdom of patience.
The grouper does not need open ocean speed. It controls one place completely.
Its greatest weapon is not only its body, it is position.
The reef builds the stage, and the grouper chooses the best place on it.
A predator does not need to strike to control the movement of fish.
This is ownership through stillness, a small kingdom ruled by waiting.
In the reef, the most dangerous distance can be the last few inches. A ledge is not just rock. It is a boundary between visibility and surprise. The Red Sea Reef is full of doors, but not every door leads to safety.
The grouper's world is not wide like the hammerheads, but inside this structure, its control is complete.
And in smaller cracks of the same ocean city, another hidden hunter waits.
The moray does not need a wide territory. It turns a crack in the reef into danger.
In this layer of the ocean, visibility belongs to prey, but concealment belongs to the hunter.
The reef does not only create shelter for fish, it creates invisibility for predators.
Every fish that passes this crack must decide how close is too close.
Inside the reef, the ocean becomes a maze of safe routes and forbidden openings.
Some predators dominate by making fish avoid spaces they cannot see into.
The reef gives life many exits, but every exit opens into another risk.
Grouper and moray share the same lesson. In the reef, structure can be stronger than speed.
But not all hidden power waits inside the coral.
Below the reef, the ocean floor hides a quieter kind of hunter.
The sand seems empty because the predator has become part of it.
The ray does not chase through open water. It reads the ocean floor.
Its body is built for the lowest layer, where pressure, scent, and movement leave quiet traces.
To larger predators, the sand may look empty. To the ray, it is full of signals.
A small movement under the sand can become a message only the bottom hunter understands.
The cave, the crack, and the sand are different worlds, but all belong to the same ocean system.
Power does not always cast a shadow overhead. Sometimes it waits beneath a thin layer of sand. The danger disappears not because it leaves, but because it becomes invisible again.
The sand is not a gap between important places. It is an entire layer of the hunt.
In this lower world, the hunt happens through contact, pressure, scent, and patience.
Each hidden predator controls a different part of the reef's lower architecture.
The grouper holds the cave, The moray holds the crack, and the ray reads the sand.
For a small fish, one journey across the reef can pass through several kingdoms of danger.
This is not chaos. It is a layered order built by coral, sand, and patience.
The Red Sea is not ruled from one throne. It is divided into many small territories. Some rulers move across great distance. Others make one small place dangerous every day. But none of these hunters owns the whole ocean. Each rules only the layer it understands best.
Now the answer becomes clearer. The Red Sea is not a kingdom of one predator, but a system of many layers.
The hammerhead owns the blue edge, the reef shark patrols the wall, the barracuda controls the current, and the hidden hunters rule the structure below.
Above all of them, the reef itself writes the rules.
It creates shelter, ambush points, current breaks, sand borders, and the density of life that makes predators possible.
To ask who rules the Red Sea is really to ask who controls which layer.
The final answer is not hidden in one bite, one cave, or one shadow. It is hidden in the balance between them.
In the final layer, the Red Sea Ocean will reveal that dominance is not a crown. It is balance. After all these layers, the answer begins to emerge.
The Red Sea is not ruled by one creature. It is ruled in layers. It owns the open edge, but it does not own the reef itself.
The reef shark rules the patrol line, making the coral edge a place of constant calculation.
Its power is not only what it eats, but how every fish moves when it appears.
Above the coral, the barracuda rules the moment when stillness becomes speed.
In the open lane, reaction time can become the difference between survival and disappearance.
Inside the reef, the grouper rules by patience and position.
It does not need to cross the ocean. It makes one cave dangerous every day.
The moray rules the cracks, where invisibility becomes control. On the sandy floor, the ray rules the world that many predators ignore.
It reads the floor the way a shark reads open water.
Each predator rules a place, but none of them rules the entire ocean alone.
The real structure is not a throne. It is a map of layers.
For small fish, survival means knowing which layer belongs to which hunter. Predators create caution. Caution shapes movement. Movement shapes the reef.
A reef is more than coral. It is coral plus fish, grazers, predators, current, sand, depth, and time.
When predators disappear, the ocean does not simply become peaceful. It becomes different. A reef may still look alive, but one invisible layer of control can be missing.
A predator's presence is part of the reef's rhythm. The grouper changes how fish use the cave. The barracuda changes how fish hold together.
The ray changes how life moves across the bottom.
Each predator is a warning, a boundary, and a force in the movement of the reef. Balance does not mean peace without danger. balance means every role still exists.
The Red Sea is narrow, but vertically it becomes an entire world.
Its narrow shape does not limit life. It compresses life into intensity.
Coral, current, sand, caves, and depth all sit close enough for predators to share the same corridor.
A fish does not experience the ocean as scenery. It experiences the ocean as choices.
Even in calm water, the reef remembers danger.
A hammerhead may own the blue edge. A reef shark may patrol the wall. A barracuda may control the open lane.
A grouper may hold the cave. A moray may guard the crack. A ray may read the sand.
But the system belongs to all of them, and to none of them alone.
Above all predators, the reef itself rules the rules.
It builds the shelters, the hunting lanes, the current breaks, and the density of life.
Without the reef, the predators lose the structure that gives their power meaning. Without predators, the reef loses part of the pressure that keeps it dynamic.
Caution shapes movement. Movement shapes feeding. Feeding shapes coral. Coral shapes shelter.
And shelter shapes the next generation of reef life.
This is the Red Sea's real power. Not one monster, but a living network.
Dominance here is not noise. It is pressure moving quietly through every layer.
From above, this may look like one narrow sea. Beneath the surface, it is many worlds stacked together.
Every fish, every coral branch, every shadow, and every current carries part of the answer. The question was never only who is strongest. The question was, who belongs to which layer?
The answer is, not one king.
The Red Sea is ruled by balance, fragile, ancient, and moving quietly through every layer of the reef. A hammerhead may own the blue edge, but the blue edge is only one part of the story.
A reef shark, a barracuda, a grouper, a moray, and a ray each hold a different piece of power.
But no piece is the whole ocean.
The real ruler is the relationship between them.
In a world so narrow, steep, and alive, dominance is not a crown. It is balance.
In northern Norway, land does not end gently. It breaks apart into fjords. Here, the ocean is not scenery. It is the force that decides where life can remain.
The coast is shaped by wind, ice, and ocean, and every edge feels exposed to the next storm. In winter, the light can fade for weeks, and the ocean turns almost black beneath the Arctic sky.
Small fishing villages cling to the ocean's edge, as if one more storm could pull the world into the dark water below.
These houses do not stand apart from the ocean. They survive by staying close to it, and by respecting its power.
The ocean gives fish movement, memory, and danger. It feeds the coast, then tests it without warning.
This is not the soft coastline of a warm sea. It is a place of cold currents, rough weather, and sudden life. The ocean cuts into the land through fjords, carrying salt, cold, food, and the rhythm of survival. From above, the coast looks frozen and severe. But beneath the ocean surface, nothing is still. The secret of this coast begins below the waves, where the ocean moves long before life becomes visible. Above the sea is wind and ice. Below the sea is current, darkness, and hidden energy. In this cold ocean, life begins quietly, almost invisibly, in the movement of water and light.
The smallest life in the ocean prepares the way for fish, birds, whales, and people.
When the ocean gathers enough food, small fish arrive, and the silence begins to change.
A single fish is fragile, but in the ocean, thousands can move like one living body.
The Arctic Ocean teaches life to move together, to read pressure, shadow, current, and danger.
Above the sea, wings begin to gather. Below the sea, silver movement calls the coast awake.
The birds read the ocean from above, searching for the first signs that fish have risen.
Even the wind becomes part of life here, lifting wings above the restless ocean.
The fjord looks silent from far away, but the ocean beneath it is beginning to concentrate life.
Then, from the cold ocean, a breath appears, proof that giants have followed the fish. The ocean has sent a signal, and the largest hunters in these waters are beginning to answer.
Nothing here is random. The ocean gathers prey, and every predator must arrive at the right moment.
The same fish that shine beneath the sea also lift life into the sky. Here, ocean, mountain, bird, fish, whale, and village are not separate stories. They belong to one system. Northern Norway is alive because warm and cold meet at the edge of the ocean. The sea gives, and the sea tests. It opens the coast, then closes it with storm and ice.
People do not conquer this ocean. They build beside it, waiting for weather, fish, and season to allow life forward. A harbor here is more than shelter. It is the thin line between the village and the open ocean. In winter, the ocean becomes a dark mirror, reflecting a sky that barely remembers the sun. Yet even in darkness, the sea keeps moving, carrying warmth from far beyond the frozen north.
The first answer to this coast lies under the waves, where currents soften the Arctic edge.
Warm Atlantic water pushes north into a polar world, and the ocean becomes a living boundary. Where ocean water mixes, nutrients rise. Where nutrients rise, the smallest life begins to bloom.
Plankton feeds small life. Small life feeds fish. Fish will soon call the giants back into the ocean. Plankton feeds small life. Small life feeds fish. Fish will soon call the giants back into the ocean.
Before the whales arrive, before the birds scream, the ocean gathers itself into one shining mass.
The fjord becomes a stage, and the sea prepares the first great drama of winter.
One breath appears, then another. The ocean has brought the hunters into the fjord.
Orcas arrive with intelligence, patience, and the precision required by this unforgiving ocean.
The fish tighten, the water changes, and the ocean begins to organize around the hunt.
Above and below the sea surface, every movement is connected by the ocean.
Then the larger giants rise, turning the cold ocean fjord into a place of sudden scale. In the darkest season, life does not disappear. In the ocean, it becomes concentrated. Northern Norway is not rich because it is easy. It is rich because the ocean gathers life where season and current align.
But this is only the beginning. Beyond the fjords, the sea falls into deeper and stranger worlds.
The same ocean that feeds fish and whales near the surface also opens into canyons of darkness below. To understand this coast, we must follow the ocean from current to fish, from fish to whale, and from whale to village. This is Norway at the edge of wind, ice, and ocean nigh. And the story begins with
The story begins beneath the ocean, where a hidden current keeps this frozen coast alive.
Northern Norway should feel locked in ice, yet the ocean refuses to become still. Far to the south, Atlantic water begins a long journey north, carrying heat into a polar world.
This current does not make the Arctic warm, but it softens the edge enough for life to gather.
Above the sea, winter is severe. Below the ocean surface, hidden warmth travels through the dark. The coast survives because the ocean is not one single body of water, but many forces meeting. Where Atlantic warmth meets Arctic cold, the ocean becomes dynamic, restless, and rich. Where Atlantic warmth meets Arctic cold, the ocean becomes dynamic, restless, and rich.
When light returns after the long darkness, microscopic life begins to bloom.
A bloom this small can change everything, because the entire visible drama begins with the invisible. Plankton feeds smaller animals, and those smaller animals become the first bridge toward fish.
Small fish follow the bloom, and the cold ocean begins to concentrate energy.
In this ocean, survival often begins with gathering.
The season is short, the light is limited, and every creature must arrive when the ocean allows it. The fjord becomes more than a landscape. It becomes a corridor where the ocean gathers life. One fish is almost invisible in the sea. Thousands can change the shape of the water.
When the school turns, the ocean flashes. When it tightens, it becomes a living mass.
The ocean does not keep its secrets for long. What gathers below is soon read from above.
Birds begin to circle because the sea beneath them has changed.
They watch the water, reading ripples, flashes, and the movement of fish beneath the ocean skin.
Below the birds, the fish are no longer scattered. The ocean has begun to build a winter feast.
This movement is not random. It is timing made visible inside the ocean. Across the cold sea, scattered life begins to come together.
In winter, abundance in the Arctic does not spread gently. It gathers in dense, fragile places.
This is how the ocean turns invisible energy into visible life. Plankton becomes fish, fish becomes movement, and movement begins to call the giants of the sea. A fjord can shelter life, but it can also concentrate it until every predator notices.
From above, the signs are small. A circle of birds, a change in the sea, a pulse beneath the surface.
The land remains silent, but the ocean below it is full of decisions. Air and sea are linked by fish, and every wing above the water depends on what the ocean provides.
The power of this school is not aggression. It is concentration.
A scattered fish is difficult to find. A dense school changes everything.
The ocean compresses life into a shape that birds can follow and whales can find.
The first hunters are already reading the surface, but the greatest hunters are still beyond the frame. Far across the ocean, another sign appears in loom, a breath
A ripple, a giant turning toward the feast.
The fish do not know the whole story, but the ocean around them is changing.
The current began this story. The fish made it visible. Now the sea is ready to summon larger life.
Sometimes the entire fjord feels organized around one movement beneath the waves.
The mountains look still, but the ocean below them is preparing the first great winter spectacle.
Herring are not the largest animals in this story, but in the winter ocean they may be the most important.
A transfer of energy, carrying the bloom of the ocean into bodies large enough to feed giants. Individually, each fish is small. Together, they become a living storm beneath the sea.
This is the moment when the Arctic coast begins to wake in the coldest part of the year. The ocean has gathered its silver bloodline, and the giants have begun to arrive.
Soon, intelligence will enter the dark water, and the fjord will become a hunting theater. The entire drama of northern Norway begins with invisible changes in water.
The land may be frozen, the sky may be dark, but the ocean continues to carry energy north. Fish feed whales, seabirds, seals, and people. The ocean connects them all. A current alone does not create a winter spectacle. For that, the sea needs a smaller creature.
It needs herring, the silver bloodline of the Arctic winter.
And when the herring are forced upward beneath the cold ocean surface, one of the most intelligent hunting scenes in the sea is about to begin. Now, beneath the cold ocean surface, one of the most intelligent hunting scenes in the sea begins.
In the winter fjords of Norway, the herring become the center of the season.
Orcas do not enter this ocean as random hunters. They arrive with memory, coordination, and purpose.
They begin to work around the school, reading its shape and guiding its movement.
The herring respond as one body, folding inward as pressure builds from every side.
The power of the orca is not speed alone. It is strategy. Above the water, birds follow the signs. Below the sea, the hunt is being arranged.
The fjord becomes a single connected world, with fish, whales, birds, and mountains in one frame.
Movement, bubbles, and pressure turn the open ocean into a carefully shaped trap.
To the viewer, it may look chaotic, but inside the sea, every movement belongs to a pattern.
A tail strike breaks the order for a moment, and the silver wall shivers through the ocean.
The school tightens again, because in this ocean, scattered life is fragile. At the surface, black fins cut through the cold ocean, like signals from another intelligence.
The birds know what the ocean is hiding, and the orcas know how to bring it within reach.
The scene becomes almost architectural, a structure built from pressure, movement, and fear.
The herring form a living sphere, and the orcas hold the boundaries of the sea around it. The herring form a living sphere, and the orcas hold the boundaries of the sea around it.
The land looks silent, but the sea below it is full of decisions.
But the orcas are not the only giants drawn into the fjord.
Humpback whales bring a different kind of force, slower, larger, and immense.
Where the orca shapes the school with precision, the humpback rises with scale.
At first, there is only a shadow moving upward through the ocean. Then the surface changes, and the fjord seems to hold its breath.
For 1 second, the ocean opens, and a giant becomes visible.
Water drains away, the whale sinks again, and the surface closes over the feast.
The school breaks, then gathers again, because the ocean keeps forcing life back into motion.
Orcas and humpbacks do not hunt in the same way, but both reveal the same truth. Northern Norway's winter sea is not dead. It is concentrated. The cold does not stop life. It compresses life into moments of intensity.
Under this different light, every animal must use the season before the season closes.
Breath turns white in freezing air, fins cut the dark ocean, and birds scream over the waves.
Below it all, the herring flash like a hidden silver storm.
The fjord becomes a feeding theater, and the small village beyond it becomes part of the same ocean story.
The sea that gathers whales also sustains the people who live beside it.
After each surge of motion, the ocean settles, but the current keeps the story moving.
The hunt is never permanent. Abundance in the Arctic is brief, and every creature must follow it. When the moment is over, the giants move on, because the ocean never holds still.
The fjord has offered food, but beyond it, the sea continues into deeper water.
Not every giant hunts near the surface, and not every ocean story remains in the light.
Farther west, beyond the winter fjords, the ocean floor begins to fall away.
The same coast that holds herring and orcas also stands beside an abyss. Here, the ocean is no longer only wide, it becomes deep. Below the feeding fjords, another world waits, one built from darkness, pressure, and sound.
The winter spectacle has shown how life gathers near the surface, but the next giant follows a different path.
Beyond the fjords, the seafloor drops, and another whale enters the unseen ocean. The next chapter belongs not to the Silver School, but to the deep diver that follows darkness itself.
From the hunting fjords of winter, we now descend toward the deep ocean canyons, where sperm whales search with sound. From the hunting fjords of winter, we now descend toward the deep ocean canyons, where another giant follows darkness itself.
Farther west, the coast reveals one of its greatest secrets. Deep ocean water comes close to land.
Here, the sea does not remain shallow for long. The ocean drops beside the shore.
Beneath the waves, slopes, and submarine canyons open a doorway into a deeper world.
For humans above, the horizon may look simple. For a deep diver, it is an entrance.
The sperm whale rises from this hidden depth to breathe at the surface.
This is not a hunter of the shallow herring fjord. It is a giant built for vertical journeys.
Before the dive, the whale waits and breathes, gathering oxygen for a world without light.
Its body seems almost still, but every breath prepares the descent.
Then the back arches, and the surface moment becomes a doorway. The ray's tail is like a door closing between the world of air and the world of depth.
Below the surface, The whale leaves the human world almost completely.
The water turns from blue to deeper blue, then toward black.
Light fades quickly here, and pressure begins to shape every movement.
In this deep ocean, sight becomes less important than sound. The sperm whale sends clicks through the ocean and listens for echoes in the dark.
Those echoes become a way to read the unseen.
The coastline is dramatic above water, but below the sea, the drama continues downward. The seafloor falls, depth opens, and a mammal of air enters a world of pressure.
Above is the coast of villages and storms. Below is the acoustic world of the sperm whale.
Somewhere in this darkness, squid and other deep-water prey move beyond human sight.
The hunt is rarely seen, but the idea of it gives this ocean its weight.
In this layer, the sea does not reveal everything.
The sperm whale carries one of the ocean's most powerful natural sonar systems.
Each click searches the darkness, returning fragments of shape, distance, and direction.
This is not the fast silver chaos of the herring fjord. It is slower.
In northern Norway, the village and the abyss can be neighbors.
On the surface are boats, weather, birds, and light. Beneath are canyons, pressure, and sound.
The human world floats above, while the whale moves through a depth human senses cannot survive.
After the descent, the whale must return to air. The journey is vertical, from breath to darkness and back again.
Every dive reminds us that this coast is not only horizontal, but layered.
The whale rises toward a world of wind, cliffs, islands, and winter ocean. Then the breath returns, and the hidden world briefly touches the surface. For a moment, the deep diver becomes visible again, and the ocean closes its secret behind it. Vesterålen matters because it shows how close deep ocean systems can come to the human coast.
A village may stand beneath snowy peaks, while a whale searches the abyss nearby.
The shore and the deep are not separate worlds here. In places like this, they are neighbors. Life exists along the coast, but it also hangs above a layered ocean.
At the surface are breath storms and light. Below are slopes, squid, pressure, and sound. The deep whale does not need the fjord theater. It belongs to a darker stage.
But life here does not only rise from the ocean depths. It also clings to stone, where the ocean sends food upward into wings. Along the northern coast, cold cliffs become vertical cities beside the sea. Along the northern coast, cold cliffs become vertical cities beside the sea. From the abyss of sperm whales, we turn to the crowded cliffs where the sea becomes flight. From the abyss of sperm whales, we turn to the crowded cliffs where the sea becomes flight.
Along the northern coast, stone cliffs become cities because the ocean below can feed them.
At first, the cliff looks like cold stone.
Then the ocean reveals it as a vertical city. Every ledge is a place of balance, where life clings between rock, wind, and ocean.
The sea feeds them below, but the cliff gives them a place to return.
A puffin-carrying fish is carrying the energy of the ocean onto land.
Each small fish began in the sea, but now it becomes part of a life built high above the waves.
The birds dive into the ocean, take from the sea, and bring that life back to stone.
A seabird colony is not only a spectacle, it is evidence that the ocean nearby is productive.
Some birds dive, some glide, some wait on ledges, but all of them depend on the sea.
On these cliffs, survival is measured in inches of stone and miles of ocean.
The cliff is built from rock, but its life is built from fish.
When they leave the cliff, they enter the ocean's weather. When they leave the cliff, they enter the ocean's weather.
When fish shift, birds must search farther, and the ocean becomes harder to read.
A cliff can roar with life, but a quieter ledge can also tell a story from the sea.
When birds vanish from a place like this, it is not only a loss of sound, it is a signal from the ocean.
Seabirds make absence visible because they return from the sea to land.
If food becomes harder to find, the cliff feels it long before the viewer understands why. The bird reads the surface, the fish reads the current, the cliff records the result.
Yet the cliffs remain alive because the ocean still sends food into the air.
Every returning bird is a small proof that the sea can still provide.
The journey from water to wing is repeated thousands of times across the coast.
Below these cliffs, humans have also learned to read the ocean.
In northern Norway, the sea is not only scenery, it is food, danger, memory, and identity.
Small villages sit between mountains and ocean, shaped by the narrow chances the sea allows. A calm harbor can feel safe, but beyond it, the ocean can change without warning.
The work of the village begins with weather, timing, and respect for the sea. Fish leave the ocean, but the cold air and wind become part of the process.
Here, the climate itself helps preserve what the sea has given. The village is not separate from nature. It is woven into the ocean's rhythm. People here have not lived by conquering the ocean. They have lived by negotiating with it.
A fisher reads wind, current, fish movement, and season before trusting the sea. The coastline may look beautiful from far away, but the ocean does not forgive carelessness.
Knowing when to turn back can be as important as knowing where the fish are. A harbor light in winter is not only beautiful, it is a signal of adaptation.
Behind each light is a life built around weather, fish, darkness, and return.
Generations learn this coast not only from maps, but from storms remembered.
The same sea that feeds a village can threaten it, depending on wind, distance, and timing.
The ocean gives and tests in the same breath.
Birds,
fishes, whales, and villages all read the same water in different ways.
Beneath the harbour, the food web continues, quiet and essential.
The village survives because the ocean remains alive beyond what the eye can see.
To live here is to know when to leave, when to wait, and when to return.
The return to harbor is part of the rhythm, as important as the journey out. This human layer keeps the coast from becoming only a wilderness postcard. The birds return to ledges, the boats return to harbor, and both returns depend on the sea.
Northern Norway is a coastal system where ocean productivity climbs into wings and settles into villages.
Everything here depends on reading the ocean accurately. The whale reads fish. The bird reads the surface. The fisher reads the wind. But this relationship is changing because the Northern Ocean is changing its rhythm.
Fish may shift, seasons may move, and old knowledge must adapt to a sea that no longer behaves exactly as before.
For the birds, for the whales, and for the people, survival depends on the ocean's pattern.
And now, across the far north, ice is retreating, seasons are shifting, and the Arctic Sea...
Across the far north, ice is retreating, seasons are shifting, and the Arctic Sea is beginning to change its rhythm. Less ice does not simply mean more open ocean. It changes the boundary between Arctic cold and Atlantic warmth.
Warmer, saltier water can move farther north, reshaping where life can gather.
The change is not always dramatic in a single frame, but the ocean remembers every small shift.
This is not a simple disaster scene. It is a rhythm slipping out of its old timing. This is not a simple disaster scene. It is a rhythm slipping out of its old timing.
For fish, temperature can influence movement, growth, spawning, and where the next meal will be found.
If the fish move, everything that follows them must also move.
For seabirds, the question becomes how far they must fly before the ocean offers food. A quieter cliff is not only a quieter cliff. It may be a message from the sea. A quieter cliff is not only a quieter cliff. It may be a message from the sea.
When the food web shifts beneath the surface, the change rises into the air.
For whales, the location of prey decides where the journey must go.
If herring gather differently, the giants must search differently.
For fishing communities, these changes are not abstract. They arrive as questions at the harbor.
Where will the fish be? When will they come? Will the old calendar still work?
Knowledge built over generations must now listen to an ocean that is changing its behavior.
Life here was always difficult, but it was difficult within patterns animals and people could learn. When the timing changes, the challenge becomes deeper than storm or cold.
For herring, the question is where to gather. For whales, where to feed.
For seabirds, the question is how far to fly before the sea gives enough. For the coast itself, the question is how to remain a living edge as the Arctic becomes less predictable.
The retreat of ice does not erase life at once. It changes the stage on which life must act.
When the stage moves, every actor must adjust.
Warm currents, cold seas, herring, whales, seabirds, fishing villages, and retreating ice all belong to one story. Northern Norway is not the edge of life. It is one of its most delicate centers. Northern Norway is not the edge of life. It is one of its most delicate centers.
Everything depends on reading the edge correctly, aesthetically, the edge between land and sea.
The edge between Atlantic warmth and Arctic cold still shapes the life above it.
The edge between winter darkness and returning light decides when the ocean can bloom.
The edge between abundance and hunger may begin with light no wider than a season.
Whales do not come because people hope to see them. They come when the ocean gathers food.
Orcas follow herring. Humpbacks arrive when the season offers enough prey.
Sperm whales use deep ocean waters where sound can find what sight cannot. Sperm whales use deep ocean waters where sound can find what sight cannot.
Humans are part of this system too, reading weather, current, fish movement, and season.
A family drying fish in cold air is using the climate as part of the process.
A harbor light in winter is not only beautiful, it is a sign that life has adapted. A harbor light in winter is not only beautiful, it is a sign that life has adapted.
Edges are where forces meet. Warm water and cold water, mountains and fjords, birds and cliffs, whales and herring.
Life here becomes precise because it must.
A whale must be where the fish are. A bird must find food before the season turns.
A fisher must choose the right day to leave harbor, because the ocean remembers every mistake.
This precision is not weakness. It is wisdom.
The animals do not fight the Arctic Ocean as if it were an enemy. They use what it gives.
Wind becomes flight. Cold water becomes a feeding ground. Darkness becomes a season of whale breath and herring movement.
Fjords become shelter. Canyons become hunting routes.
The people here do the same. They build low against the wind and place villages near protected water.
They follow fish, respect weather, and understand that the sea is never only a view.
It is a force with memory, and that is why this coast stays with people who see it. Northern Norway is not only beautiful, it is honest.
It does not pretend nature is gentle. It shows that life can continue in severe places.
To live at the edge is not to be far from life. It is to live where life must become most aware.
A school of herring can call whales back into dark fjords. A cliff can hold thousands of wings above a winter ocean.
A warm Atlantic current can keep the northern coast open when the land around it is frozen.
A small village can survive for generations, not by overpowering the sea, but by learning its rhythm.
Here, every form of life is reading something. The blue whale reads the fish. The albatross reads the surface. The fisher reads the wind. The village reads the season. The coast reads the meeting of warm Atlantic water
and Arctic cold. Northern Norway is not the end of life. It is where life becomes precise. Between wind, ice, and ocean, every breath, every wing, every returning boat.
Not by conquering nature, but by listening carefully enough to remain.
This is Norway. Life at the edge of wind, ice, and ocean. From above, Greenland looks silent, but along the edge of the Arctic Ocean, life is already waiting. This is not an empty white world. It is a world where life hides, where ice and ocean meet.
The fjords are ocean roads carved into stone, carrying cold water deep into the frozen land. Every dark opening in the ocean ice can become a doorway, a warning, or a lifeline. In Greenland, the frozen surface is never just scenery. It is the stage where survival begins. The silence holds signs, tracks, scent, wind, hunger, and memory.
A hole in the ice may look small, but beneath it lies an entire ocean world.
For the seal, this is not simply water. It is the border between breath and darkness.
Below the ice, the ocean is quiet, but it is not still. Greenland's story begins in this thin boundary between frozen air and living sea.
The polar bear looks powerful, but even power depends on the ocean ice beneath its feet.
It reads the sea ice through scent, sound, pressure, and patience.
Every step costs energy, and in this frozen ocean world, energy is never wasted.
The strongest hunter here is still only one life, moving across a fragile frozen floor.
Where the ocean opens, the food chain begins to gather. Birds follow the cracks because the ocean below carries food upward.
From far away, these cliffs look lifeless, but the sea has already begun to fill them with motion. Here, wings turn ocean food into life on stone. The cliff is not only rock, it is a vertical city built beside the sea. Beneath the noise of wings, a smaller survivor reads the same ocean edge.
The fox is small, but in a hard ocean-bound world, smallness can be a form of strength. It survives not by ruling the landscape, but by noticing what others miss.
Where the ocean feeds birds, it also creates chances for the fox. Life here is spread thin, but every edge has a purpose. Even the quietest animals are tied to the rhythm of snow, wind, and sea.
Some survive by moving lightly. Others survive by standing together against the ocean wind.
In Greenland, warmth is stored in bodies, in herds, and in every careful choice.
Land and ocean are never separate here. The sea shapes the weather, the food, and the movement of life. The fjords carry the ocean into the frozen land, and with it comes the possibility of life. Below these icebergs, the ocean continues downward into a colder and darker world.
The frozen surface hides an ocean system where small lives support giants.
In this cold ocean, even the smallest forms of life can decide what survives above the ice.
Fish turn invisible ocean energy into movement, flesh, and survival.
The seal carries this ocean energy upward, toward the frozen world above.
A single layer of ice separates two worlds, but every life on both sides is connected.
Glaciers bring the frozen interior to the sea, and the ocean answers with movement. To the animals of Greenland, ice is shelter, distance, danger, and direction. Far beyond the cliffs, giants follow the same cold ocean rhythm. A whale changes the fjord in a single breath, revealing that this frozen land is also an ocean world.
Some animals walk on ice, some breathe through it, and others move beneath it like living mountains.
Each life seems separate, but the ocean connects them all.
In Greenland, survival gathers where elements meet: ice and water, cliff and sea, hunger and patience.
Nothing here is careless. Every mark in the snow belongs to a decision. The same frozen surface can be a roof, a road, a nursery, and a hunting ground.
The ocean feeds the birds feed the cliffs, and the cliffs feed another kind of survival. This opening chapter is only the surface. Beneath it lies a deeper system of timing, hunger, and adaptation. To understand Greenland wildlife, we must follow the edge where the ocean shapes every life. The first rule of this frozen world is simple. Ice decides where life can move. When the ocean opens, the story begins to move from silence into survival.
And so we begin with the fragile foundation beneath every track, every dive, every flight, and every breath.
To understand life in Greenland, we must begin with the surface that decides almost everything: sea ice.
This ice is not a blank white floor. It is a living boundary between air and ocean.
Where the ocean presses against the frozen surface, the ice bends, breaks, rises, and becomes a map. An open lead can become a feeding route, a breathing place, or a dangerous gap between lives. Below the frozen roof, the ocean begins its quiet work.
When light returns, even the smallest life beneath the ice can start an entire chain. The beginning of survival here is almost invisible, carried by light, nutrients, and timing. Fish gather where the ocean gives them food, and their movement begins to draw larger lives. Every small body in this cold ocean becomes part of a larger survival equation. The seal lives between two worlds, feeding in the ocean and breathing through the ice.
To the seal, a dark circle in the ice is not a detail. It is a doorway back to air. The same ice that traps the ocean below also gives life a place to breathe. For one animal, the hole is safety. For another, it is a place to wait. The bear does not rule the ice by force alone. It survives by reading the ocean's frozen skin.
Sea ice is a road, a roof, a hunting ground, a resting place, and a border between worlds.
Where the ice is strong, it can become a platform for rest.
Where snow gathers over ice, shelter can form, but only if the season remains stable. To human eyes, the ice may look permanent, but the ocean beneath is always moving it.
A frozen surface can rise, tilt, crack, and drift with every movement of the sea.
The frozen interior reaches the ocean through glaciers, and the ocean reshapes it into drifting ice. Here,
Every texture tells a different story of cold, pressure, current, and time.
The ice opens, closes, thickens, thins, and changes the rules for everything living here.
When the ocean opens, birds read the signal from above.
A crack in the ice can connect sky, ocean, and hunger in a single dive.
Below the opening, the ocean gathers movement that cannot be seen from the frozen surface.
The sea feeds the birds, and the birds carry the ocean's energy toward the cliffs.
Even the cliffs depend on what happens out here on the frozen sea. The ocean does not stop at the shore. Its influence climbs into every track and every ledge.
The living Greenland is not found in the empty interior. It gathers around the ocean edge.
When light returns to the frozen world, the ocean beneath begins to answer. Light, ice, and ocean must meet at the right time for life to rise.
Every animal reads this map differently, but the map is written by the sea. A sound in the ice can mean movement, danger, access, or change.
Strength and weakness can exist only a few steps apart. From below, the ice is a ceiling of shadows, openings, and risk.
The food web begins quietly, in colors and movements too small to dominate the eye.
Plankton feeds fish. Fish feeds seals and birds, and the ice holds each layer close together.
The seal is a bridge between the small ocean lives below and the hunters above.
The bear uses sea ice as a road to reach the places where the ocean must breathe.
Nothing here survives alone. The ice connects every breath, dive, flight, and step.
But the foundation of this world is fragile, and its rhythm is never guaranteed.
When ice forms later or breaks earlier, every animal must spend more energy finding what it needs.
Distance changes survival. A short crossing can become a long search.
A wider opening can help one life, while making another life work harder.
When the ice changes, the distances change, the timing changes, and the risks change.
Even the giants of the fjord follow the patterns set by ice, current, and prey. This is the first rule of Greenland wildlife. Survival gathers where elements meet. And across this frozen stage, one relationship will define the next chapter. Above the ice waits the bear. Beneath the ice moves the seal. Above the ice waits the bear. Beneath the ice moves the seal. Between them lies the polar bear is powerful, but here, power begins with patience. The polar bear is powerful, but here, power begins with patience.
A scent carried from the ocean can guide the bear farther than sight alone.
Every step is a calculation, because every movement burns energy that may not return.
To survive here, the bear must understand a map that is always shifting. For the seal, this small opening is life. For the bear, it is possibility. For the seal, this small opening is life. For the bear, it is possibility. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet
precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient. The seal is built for this hidden ocean, where movement must be quiet, precise, and efficient.
Beneath the surface, the seal is not helpless. It belongs to the ocean in a way the bear cannot.
Its world is three-dimensional, shaped by pressure, breath, darkness, and memory. One animal walks on the frozen roof. One animal moves beneath it. Both are bound to the same ocean ice. The bear searches for the point where the seal's need for air meets the surface. The seal must choose when to rise, and sometimes survival means passing a doorway by. The most powerful image of the bear is not a roar. It is the weight of waiting. Somewhere below, a seal must breathe. Somewhere above, hunger is measuring time. Below the ice, the seal also waits, listening to a world it cannot fully see. A few meters of ice, distance, and timing can become the difference between danger and breath. For now, the ocean receives the seal again. When the scent changes, the bear must decide whether to wait, move, or spend more energy. A failed wait is not dramatic, but in the Arctic, it still has a cost. The bear's hunting ground is also a moving platform, shaped by temperature, wind, and sea. When the ice changes, the distance between predator and prey changes with it. The seal's survival depends on food below, air above, and ice stable enough to connect them. Fish become seal energy, and seal energy becomes part of the world above. The food web is not a diagram here. It is a path through water, ice, and wind. Rest is not weakness. In a place where every calorie matters, rest is strategy.
The ocean below is always active, even when the surface appears still.
The seal moves where the bear cannot walk, but it must always return to the surface for air. A crack in the ice can help the seal breathe and force the bear to travel farther. In Greenland, the shortest path is often impossible. The ice decides the journey. For the seal, open water can mean freedom, but also exposure. Neither animal controls this place. Both negotiate with the ice. The bear is a hunter, but it is also a listener in a frozen ocean landscape. The seal is prey, but it is also a specialist of water, pressure, ice, and breath. Without sea ice, the bear can still walk, swim, and search, but its most efficient world begins to vanish.
The seal also depends on ice, but in a different way, as sealing, shelter, and access to air. Both lives need ice, but not the same kind, not in the same way, and not at the same moment. Greenland's ice records movement, but only for a little while before the wind rewrites it. Storm, cold, hunger, and timing press on both animals at once.
The bear's hunting ground is also a moving platform, shaped by temperature, wind, and sea.
When the ice changes, the distance between predator and prey changes with it. The seal's survival depends on food below, air above, and ice stable enough to connect them. Fish becomes seal energy, and seal energy becomes part of the world above. The food web is not a diagram here. It is a path through water, ice, and wind. Rest is not weakness. In a place where every calorie matters, rest is strategy. The ocean below is always active, even when the surface appears still.
The seal moves where the bear cannot walk, but it must always return to the surface for air. Here, survival becomes smaller, quieter, and no less exact.
The Arctic fox is small enough to vanish, but clever enough to read every edge of this frozen world. Compared with the bear, the fox seems fragile, but in Greenland, needing less can be a kind of strength. It survives by scent, memory, timing, and the ability to change its strategy when the ocean coast changes.
The fox does not dominate the landscape. It listens to it.
In a world where food is rare, even the smallest sound beneath snow can matter. Every movement must be worth the energy it costs. The coast gives the fox options: snow, stone, cliff, ice, and the ocean's leftovers. And in Greenland, flexibility can be as valuable as strength. When the season changes, the fox changes with it. Its camouflage belongs to the season, not to one color.
Summer does not make Greenland easy. It only opens a short window of possibility.
Where the ocean feeds the birds, the cliff becomes a seasonal pantry for those who can read it.
The fox takes opportunity where it appears, but every opportunity here is temporary.
The ocean rises into the cliff through wings, and the fox waits below that movement. On this coast, balance is not only physical, it is the balance between hunger and risk. When food appears briefly, memory becomes a future meal. The fox survives by turning a scattered coastline into a map of chances. But the fox is not the only small life shaped by snow and sea.
The Arctic hare survives by becoming part of the whiteness itself.
Stillness can be protection when the landscape offers nowhere to hide. Every burst of movement must be measured, because speed also spends energy.
Even in a frozen world, life searches for the smallest hidden food.
The coast records many lives at once, but only until wind erases the page. Farther from the cliff, another kind of survivor follows the sparse food of the tundra.
For these animals, Survival is written close to the ground.
The food is not abundant. It must be uncovered one small patch at a time. Their path is shaped by wind, snow depth, and the thin food left by a short season.
And then the tundra reveals animals built not for speed, but for endurance. Musk oxen carry warmth like a living shelter against the ocean wind.
Their coats are not decoration. They are insulation, armor against cold, and the memory of survival.
Like the hare and caribou, they live from what little the frozen ground allows.
In a place this exposed, the group itself becomes part of survival.
The sea does not feed every animal directly, but it shapes the weather every animal must endure. Many strategies cross the same frozen coast, each one answering the same question in a different way. Survival here is not one kind of greatness. It is many precise answers to cold, hunger, and time. The fox may be one of Greenland's most precise survivors, because it is never tied to only one chance. It searches the boundary where the ocean leaves small gifts and the tundra hides small meals. Opportunity is brief here, and the fox must know when to move on. Its world is not land or sea, but the thin line between them. In Greenland, even nearby lives may pass without drama, each saving energy for its own struggle. Some search constantly, some endure in place. Greenland allows both, but rewards neither easily. A few stems beneath snow can matter as much as a breathing hole in the ice. Every track belongs to an animal, spending itself carefully. The fox shows that survival is not always loud, large, or obvious. The tundra teaches another lesson. Endurance can be as cinematic as motion. As light fades, the frozen coast keeps its lives close and quiet. By morning, the story begins again, written in new tracks beside the sea. And where the fox follows the coast, the next great world of Greenland rises above the ocean. Beyond the quiet survivors of the tundra, the cliffs awaken into a city of wings, and the ocean begins to speak louder. Beyond the quiet survivors of the tundra, the cliffs awaken into a city of wings, and the ocean begins to speak louder. From far away, this cliff looked lifeless. Up close, it becomes one of Greenland's loudest expressions of survival. The ledges are narrow, the wind is constant, and yet life gathers here in astonishing numbers. In Greenland, abundance does not spread everywhere. It concentrates where the ocean can feed it. Every flight away from the cliff is a journey back to the sea. The birds search the openings, because beneath the ice, food begins to move. A single dive connects sky, cliff, ice, and ocean. Below the surface, the ocean gathers the energy that will return to the cliff. The sea gives, and the wings carry that gift back to stone. The cliff is not separate from the ocean. It is fed by every return. Each landing is precise, because space is scarce and the sea below is unforgiving. This is a city without walls, built from wind, rock, wings, and ocean food.
For the fox, the cliff is not noise. It is a seasonal map of opportunity.
The smallest hunter survives by reading what falls, what changes, and what disappears.
The ocean is being delivered upward, wing by wing.
Different birds use the same coast in different ways, but all are tied to what the ocean provides. Small wings can carry enormous meaning in a place where nutrients are rare. Around great colonies, the sea even changes the land, feeding soil that would otherwise remain poor. The cliff speaks for the ocean, and the ocean answers through wings.
Beyond the cliffs, the coast opens again, and the scale of life begins to change.
On the ice, walruses turn a drifting platform into a place of rest. Their bodies are built for cold water, but the ice still gives them a place to pause. The ocean receives them slowly, as if the boundary between ice and water belongs to both.
Below the flow, another Greenland world opens, heavier, darker, and shaped by depth.
Many marine mammals share the same frozen edge, each using ice and ocean in its own way. Some rest on the ice, some breathe through it, some pass beneath it almost unseen.
The same ocean that feeds the birds also carries the lives of seals, walruses, and giants still farther offshore. Farther from shore, the scale changes again. A humpback whale changes the entire fjord with a single breath.
The tail rises, and then the giant returns to the hidden ocean below.
Below the icebergs, Greenland becomes a three-dimensional ocean world.
Fin whales bring speed and scale to waters shaped by current, prey, and season.
These giants do not move randomly. They follow the ocean's invisible patterns.
Where plankton and fish gather, the largest bodies on Earth may follow.
The bowhead whale belongs deeply to the Arctic imagination, slow, massive, and built for icy seas.
Its body carries endurance across seasons, currents, and frozen waters.
In the dark below the ice, size becomes almost silent.
Then the ocean changes tone, and white shapes move through the fjord like living echoes.
Belugas move through sound as much as water, using voices to keep contact in a world of ice and shadow.
In cold and limited visibility, sound becomes a map. Some Greenland lives are visible only for moments, and others remain almost mythical.
Narwhals bring mystery not because they are fantasy, but because their real lives are so difficult to witness.
A single tusk above the water can feel unreal, but it belongs to a life shaped by ice, depth, and sound. Beneath the surface, they travel through a world where sound, pressure, and inherited roots matter more than sight. Greenland's ocean is not empty space. It is a layered world of roots, signals, and hidden feeding grounds.
Some animals stand on ice, some rest on it, some breathe through it, and some travel beneath it.
Together, they reveal Greenland not as an isolated island, but as part of a living Arctic Ocean network. The animals follow food, openings in ice, depth, temperature, current, and memory.
What begins as tiny movement in the ocean can rise into birds, seals, walruses, and whales.
But this ocean map is not fixed, and the rhythm that guides these lives is changing. When ice shifts, Every root must be read again. The cliffs, the seals, the walruses, and the whales all depend on timing in the sea.
A change in one layer can echo through all the others.
And now, the frozen map that holds these lives together begins to change its rhythm. And now, the frozen map that holds these lives together begins to change its rhythm. In Greenland, change does not arrive as an idea. It arrives as thinner ice, wider water, and altered distance. A frozen road can become a maze, and every animal must learn the new shape of the ocean. For the polar bear, distance is not only space. Distance is energy. When ice breaks the route, the bear must walk farther, wait longer, and spend more of what it cannot easily replace. Its strength remains but every extra distance adds pressure to its life.
Below the ice, the seal also faces a changing ceiling.
More open water can help a seal breathe, but unstable ice can change where it rests, hides, and raises young. The same change can offer one advantage while removing another. Nothing in Greenland has only one meaning. Ice can shelter, expose, connect, and separate.
For seabirds, the question is not only whether food exists, but whether it appears close enough and soon enough.
A longer flight can turn abundance into effort.
The cliff still lives, but its rhythm depends on a sea that is never still. For the fox, flexibility is survival, but even flexibility depends on what the season provides. It searches the coast as it always has, but the coast itself is beginning to answer differently. On land, change appears in snow depth, exposed ground, and the timing of the short feeding season.
The tundra animals endure weather from the sea, even when they do not feed directly from the ocean.
A small plant, a thin crust of snow, and a few warmer days can change the choices of animals above the sea.
And every part of Greenland returns to the ocean sooner or later.
For whales, changing ice can open new water, but it can also shift the food they follow.
When plankton and fish move, giants may change their routes. Belugas read the water through sound, but even sound travels through a changing landscape.
A route once held by ice and memory may become a route of new openings. Narwhals, too, move through a world where ice, depth, and sound must align.
The hidden routes of the Arctic are not fixed roads. They are living agreements with the frozen sea.
The animals are tough, but toughness does not mean independence. Specialization creates power, but it also creates dependence.
A body perfectly made for one rhythm may struggle when that rhythm begins to shift.
With the bear, the seal, the fish, and the ice are not separate stories.
A change in the sea can rise into the sky.
A change in the sea can reach the smallest hunter on the rocks. A change in snow and sesame can reach every hoofprint, pawprint, and hidden burrow. Greenland is not a place where life spreads evenly. It is a place where life gathers at the margins.
To watch Greenland wildlife is to watch precision.
A seal's quick breath, a bear, slow step, and a bird's shadow all belong to the same frozen system. Beneath the surface, the ocean remembers every layer of the story. A whale's breath above cold water can feel brief, but it carries a history older than maps. The fox reads the snow, the birds read the sea, and the whales read the currents. The bear reads the wind, and the seal reads the ice. Together, they turn Greenland's frozen edges into a living system. Nothing here is careless, and nothing here is guaranteed. Yet Greenland is not a dead white world. It is a world where life has learned to spend itself carefully. Here, harshness does not erase life. It sharpens it. The frozen world and the ocean world are not separate. They are one living boundary. Every breath, dive, flight, and step belongs to this fragile agreement between life and ice. Greenland wildlife does not live outside the harshness. It survives by reading the harshness. And as the ice changes, every track, every breath, every nest, and every migration must answer a new question. Survival here is not only about strength, it is about timing, precision, and the fragile promise between life and the frozen world that holds it.
This untamed wilderness, Kodiak Island, has weathered storms like this for millennia. The raw power of the North Pacific shapes everything here.
Kodiak Island. A place defined by the relentless weather and the unforgiving sea. Kodiak is defined by motion, not stillness. Here, the island breathes weather every hour, a wild, untamed cycle of rain and mist. They thought they knew this place, but the island guards its secrets with teeth and claw, a force of nature, unmatched. From the highest peaks to the deepest valleys, every stream belongs to the ocean.
We see the mountains and the mist, but the sea remains the island's unseen engine, fueling the wind and the rain.
Kodiak is not empty. It is densely alive.
This is the island. A place defined by the relentless rhythm of the cold northern sea. Rain doesn't just fall, it sculpts the world around us, shaping every layer of life, ensuring the vibrant greens of this forest endure. The shoreline is a boundary that never stays fixed, constantly reshaped by the relentless power of the sea. From the churning coastlines to the highest peaks, Kodiak is an island of thresholds, vast and untamed. This is where the freshwater surrenders to the sea, and where the island's greatest energy begins.
Even deep inland, the sea is never far away.
Soon, the river will pulse with life, a silver tide returning to the waters of their birth, continuing the endless cycle.
This is a world governed by conditions, not comfort.
Here, the weather itself speaks, and the storms that crash against these cliffs are simply part of the island's normal language. Here on Kodiak, the land, the sea, and the sky are bound together. It is a single, unbroken living system. These tracks mean only one thing. The giant bear of the island is near, and we are entering its territory.
This is where the island begins to reveal its power.
It moved with deliberate force, an ancient shadow emerging from the mist and rain, searching for us. But the island's true story, the one etched into the stone and the water, begins far beyond this forest. Carried by the cold current from the high country toward the ocean, we transition now into the solemn and powerful territory of the bear. Here on Kodiak, the landscape is in constant motion, shaped by the relentless weather and the powerful creatures navigating these rugged paths. Beyond the fog lies the domain of the island's true master, and it does not welcome visitors.
A life-sustaining current flows through the forest. Soon, the salmon will begin their arduous journey, drawn back to these waters.
This is Kodiak, a place where the visibility itself changes by the minute.
Here, the forest becomes a sponge. Every drop of this cold rain is captured by the moss, storing the island's moisture deep within the earth.
Where the fresh water surrenders to the saline depths, the path home begins, though the way is long and shrouded in mist. They say this place has no beginning, only the endless churning of the sea and the whisper of the wind through the peaks. Every part of this land depends on the next. The water flowing from these mountains connects the entire system.
Rain defines this landscape, shaping the very stones and trees. But even in this relentless downpour, the first signs of life begin to stir.
As twilight fell over the riverbank, the island prepared to reveal its largest presence yet. Kodiak. A land of constant reveal and conceal. The cycle begins again. Driven by instinct, the salmon turn upstream, drawing the great bears back to the river's edge.
Flowing through this hidden corridor, the river sustains an intricate web of life. It is a delicate balance, one we are only beginning to understand. Energy returns to the island with every wave, a cycle as old as the sea itself, constantly renewed.
Kodiak is built from connections.
This island system shows us a simple truth. Nothing here exists alone. Everything is connected by water.
To truly know Kodiak, you must first accept that much of it will remain forever hidden, lost in the fog of time and tide. Soon, the salmon will return. Driven by an ancient instinct, they will face the torrent, seeking the waters of their birth. Weather is not background here, but structure.
The legends were true. The island holds a giant, and by the size of these prints, it's unlike anything we've ever known.
Isolation wasn't just a state of being here. It was the sculptor, carving these valleys and shaping the very nature of this untouched world.
Driven by ancient instinct, the salmon return. They fight the storm and the tide, completing a cycle as old as the river itself. The signs were everywhere, pointing towards a power unmatched in this wilderness. Soon, we would meet the bear. The true power of Kodiak lies not in a single landmark, but in the entirety of this immense, rugged coastline.
From the rugged coastlines, we move inland, into the heart of this secluded ecosystem. Here, the dense canopy thrives on the constant moisture.
The next chapter will reveal why this place can support giants. This is just the surface. The island's true story, the deeper system of life, is only beginning. The storm intensified, washing away the path. But it couldn't hide the tracks. The ruler of this island was close now.
This river is part of a vast, unending cycle. The water here will reach the distant ocean, only to return again as rain falling on the forest.
In this unforgiving landscape, the Kodiak stands alone. The quiet giant of the island. The bear's size comes from an island built on abundance and endurance. Power on Kodiak often arrives quietly. Rather than rush, the bear waits, studying the current's relentless flow.
Driven by instinct, the salmon return, bringing the pulse of the ocean to these shallow waters. The forest awakens.
These fish carry the sea into the forest.
This annual migration is the lifeblood of the wilderness. The salmon run is the bloodstream of the island, nourishing the forest and all its creatures. For the salmon, comfort is irrelevant. It is reproduction that drives this arduous journey upstream. The bear's movement is slow, exact, and powerful.
The catch is merely part of a much larger exchange, a critical moment in the ongoing saga of the salmon run and the bears that depend on it.
The salmon run bridges two worlds. From the vast ocean, this single fish brings the nutrients necessary to sustain the giants of the forest.
In the harsh reality of the Alaskan wilderness, every meal shapes this bear's winter survival, building the reserves needed to endure the lean months ahead.
A gathering place for predators and scavengers. The powerful current draws them all inevitably downstream.
Nothing on Kodiak feeds only one species.
The land does not forget. These prints, these scales, they are the memory of movement etched into the earth. The bear is built by seasons, not moments.
This is Kodiak's rhythm, a staggered abundance. When one stream rests, another wakes, and the bear knows exactly where to be.
The island's energy moves inland from the ocean.
Here, in the quiet cold, every step sinks deep into the wet moss. Every print left behind marks the island itself. The salmon are the engine of abundance. Their relentless journey upstream feeds the forest, the waters, and creatures like the bear.
And in the distance, evidence that this island supports more than one giant.
Kodiak's abundance is shared through timing and space. The bear's silence is not an absence of sound, but the sound of dominance itself, heavy and profound.
The entire island is connected by water, a continuous flow linking forest, river, and the distant sea.
Left behind on the riverbank, the salmon's body becomes a bridge, transferring vital ocean nutrients deep into the soil and the surrounding wildlife.
What the bear does not take is returned to the earth. What the bear does not keep becomes life for the land.
On Kodiak, the year is marked by seasonal doors. The bears move from the streams into the meadows as new food sources emerge. The bear survives on many foods, not one, shifting its diet from fish to the bounty of the forest floor. While it often grazes peacefully on the abundant vegetation, the bear remains a powerful presence, an apex predator moving through its domain. Kodiak's edges feed one another.
While recognized as a fierce river hunter, the coastal brown bear is also an opportunistic forager, scavenging the shoreline after the storm.
While the storm rages, the receding tide often leaves behind a bounty of food, scattered amidst the debris. Driven by the relentless coastal winds, this stretch of pebbles and driftwood becomes a shared feast for the great bear, the eagles, and the gulls. When the tide retreats, it uncovers a hidden layer of the island, teeming with life adapted to this rugged coast. The bear knows this loop well. The sea provides, but the land offers refuge when the weather turns.
It is here on Kodiak, everything is connected. The streams feed the forest protects the coast, and in this unity lies our strength.
Relentlessly, the journey continues. The salmon, driven by instinct, is still on its way home. The island feeds its giants in more than one season. Even the smallest plants play a vital role in the bear's survival, providing sustenance in this harsh landscape. Standing resolute against the storm, the Kodiak bear is the undisputed monarch, the visible peak of this island's system.
The bear is shaped by the island. Its greatest power is the system that keeps it alive: the rain, the river, and the cold sea.
The salmon, fueled by the distant ocean, carry life upstream. The bear intercepts this energy, transferring the vitality of the sea.
The bear is only one part of a vast, interconnected living system. Here, the salmon, the river, and the forest are all linked in a delicate balance.
Driven by an ancient instinct, these salmon are the embodiment of energy carried home from the sea, fighting the relentless current.
For the salmon, every leap is a struggle, part of a powerful return to waters older than memory itself. Driven by instinct, the salmon begin their migration. It is a staggered pulse of abundance against the relentless river current. The island does not give everything at once.
The journey nears its end, and with it comes a profound change. Their scales ignite with the crimson hue of the spawning grounds.
For the creatures of this forest corridor, the river is more than just a waterway. It is a stage set for the ancient drama of the hunt. Here at the river mouth, freshwater meets the cold sea. It is a meeting place of worlds, where different currents collide and life thrives. Even death here feeds the island.
This is the hidden exchange between sea and land. The forest drinks deeply from the remains, a transfer of marine energy carried by the steady rain into...
The stream nourishes more than the fish. It brings life to the moss and the soil, sustaining the entire woodland ecosystem.
The forest edge acts as a profound record of feeding. The scattered remains of the salmon and the deep impressions of bear tracks. From the smallest creatures to the otter searching for salmon, all life here is bound by the same ancient, unending cycle.
Nothing on Kodiak goes unused for long.
Even in the harshest storms, the cycle continues.